One guy that we need to know before moving on from this segment of the podcast is Winston Wright Jr., the West Virginia transfer wide receiver. Starting to see some progress happening now, D-Lou. It's been limited since the beginning. It was already limited in the spring. The car wreck happens. It kind of slows down that rehab, but now we're starting to see him. He was out there running routes, catching passes from the quarterbacks, still progressing and getting down with the rehab. And Coach Norvell continues to comment and say, we're taking it one step at a time. And there's never going to be, I don't think, a for sure comment, no matter what it will be, week 8, week 9, if he's going to be available for a game, no matter what. But for the first time, we're able to see the progress happen now. And I think it's a good sign to see him starting to build some chemistry. To me, this is the biggest thing for me. It's always been this way, is building that wide receiver and quarterback chemistry. And that's something Winston Wright Jr. is now being able to finally develop and grow there. And so slowly but surely making the steps, D-Lou. But VZ, Dustin, we talked about in New Orleans, after the game, Florida State beats LSU, that wide receiver unit came to play on Terry Wilson. Boom. Hello. There you are. If you're able to, in the middle of the season or wherever that time comes where Winston Wright Jr. is available, that's a pretty fun wide receiver room, because you weren't expecting Deuce Spann to blow up like this. But if you're able to have Winston Wright Jr. come up, VZ, it adds a lot to that wide receiver room.
He was West Virginia's best receiver last year. So just to add someone of that talent to this room, I would say has surprised us so far. Obviously, they can improve their hands a little bit, but getting a receiver of Winston Wright Jr.'s caliber into that rotation, I think he's a phenomenal deep threat. He's got great hands. It's something Jordan Travis needs, just another reliable threat, because we've seen that a little bit with the drops from Pittman and Johnny Wilson. Getting a sure-handed guy in there can really only help things.
It's a positive sign to see where he's at in his rehab. Whenever fall camp started, he was just kind of over there off to the side, doing some minimal footwork and things like that. And now to have him out there, I know it's on air and he's not taking hits from defenders yet, but just to be out there catching passes from the quarterbacks, getting a chance to run routes, make cuts, different things to test his leg like he wasn't doing before. And at the start of his rehab, it's promising. And I don't think he's going to be back, next week or 2 weeks from now. Norvell hasn't provided an official timeline for his return, but I still think there's some hurdles that Winston Wright is going to have to jump through before he is eventually cleared to return and take contact and everything, especially with where that injury occurred on that leg. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But for him to be out there running, like I said, running these routes, getting some timing, as you mentioned, Logan, with the quarterbacks, that's a good thing for Florida State. And if they are able to get him into a lineup later this season, I would say that's a win, all things considered, especially with when he suffered this injury.
I kind of get the feeling we won't see him before the Clemson game. And even if he's not back by that game, you have a bye week after that. And, maybe he's back for that last 5-game stretch, starting with Georgia Tech. I feel like Georgia Tech would be a good game for him to return anyway. It's not as big of an opponent. Get a feel for his legs again. I feel like that's realistic. But really just him getting healthy and rehabbing is more important than anything, and getting that chemistry down, like Logan said.
Yeah. Like you said, that VZ, that was your wide receiver 1 in West Virginia. So to bring that guy and place him here at FSU, where you're starting to see, and it's only been 2 games. It's only been 2 games, but you're seeing improvement there from the wide receiver room, and it goes to help too with Jordan Travis' development there and progressing, getting the ball, staying downfield, eyes downfield at the wide receiver. That's going to be pretty exciting for FSU fans if they're able to see number 1 out on the field, because we've been seeing him kick return and taking those reps, but then after that, nothing much else. But, this week we've seen progress there from Wright Jr. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. If we're able to share more or there's more happening in practice, we will make sure to do that on the show and keep you guys up with the latest. So overall, I will say a good practice this week. It was it's a bye week, so it's fully understandable after a really physical game against LSU. So bye week practice, but this week I thought guys looked sharp, and that's going to help my prediction later on in the show. Hey guys, this is Logan. Definitely appreciate you for watching the entire video. If you wouldn't mind, definitely hit that like button down below. Leave a comment on what you thought about the video, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you guys haven't yet either, make sure you're signed up on our Patreon. This is where we're giving our inside news, inside nuggets, recruiting scoop, and so much more daily. You guys can sign up for that at patreon.com/NoleGameday. It's the cheapest option out of any outlet covering Florida State athletics right now at $2.99 a month. I highly suggest going to check it out. Once again, patreon.com/NoleGameday. Come hang out with us and get ready for the season ahead. See you guys there, and thank you for watching.